I'm going to run you through facing the future. Now, I've got a secret. I know how the future goes. I know how the robots are going to kill us. And hopefully I'll explain a little bit as we go through this presentation exactly what I think of the future and how the big stomping robots are going to eventually get us all. My name is Tom Welland. I'm Head of Product Management for GUNNEBO. Now, in order to face the future, first we must understand where we've come from. So I want to take us back to a simpler time, the time of the dawn of the internet, where we were overjoyed with having a Nokia, playing Snake on our phone. It was a simpler time. This was the advent of notifications. The internet gave us lots of wonderful things, mostly pictures of cats, but bookings, a lovely picture of your niece, your family. But it was a simpler time. We could manage this time. The internet gave us efficiency. It helped us moderate our lives. It improved everything around us. And what have we done with this technology? We can light up dogs. This is how far we've come as a human race. We've taken this massive technology that people have spent hours and hours and years of working out, and we've been able to put lights on a dog and light it from our phone. The technology is a wonderful thing. I can stand here, my wife's currently at home, and I can turn the lights on in my lounge. I can turn the music on in my kitchen. She's going to be stood there now wondering what's happening as I flicker the lights on and off. But what this has done is create too much technology. The technology now is starting to consume us in terms of notifications. So we have, at the moment, we're in the era of the Internet of Things. So currently we have our watch, our phones, our computers are connected. They're connected to the world around us, but the problem is they're not speaking to each other. They're not communicating, they're not providing efficiencies. Now, if we carry on this world of connectivity, it's estimated that by 2025 there will be 100 billion devices connected to the internet. That works out of 14 devices per person by 2025. If we carry on that scale, we're going to be consumed by a world of constantly having to silence something, constantly having to interact. So my phone won't know when I've answered it, and the computer will carry on ringing because they're not intelligent enough to pick up on each other. They're not creating a world of efficiencies any longer. What they're doing is creating a lot of friction within the world. Now, all of these people utilizing this technology, we're supposed to use technology to improve the world, to allow us to have a better life, to allow us to do better with our lives, with the spare time we have. But if we've got all this technology, 14 devices per person, we're just going to spend our entire time silencing and telling something what we need to do. So this is how the robots come in. The robots aren't going to kill us with their giant magnetic fists. They're not going to kill us with rivers of oil and WD-40. The robots are going to kill us by vibration. Having to constantly silence something or tell a device exactly where to go or what I'm doing. But the way that we achieve this is by the term that's bandied about, which is artificial intelligence. And artificial intelligence is a big seeing, breathing thing, and it's happening. And it's been happening for a long time, since the dawn of the internet, because we knew this problem was going to happen. But this problem will eventually get better. And we use a smaller subsection of artificial intelligence called context awareness. Now, context awareness is not about robots. It's not about an all-seeing eye. Context awareness is the idea that your device can sense where you are and sense what you need to do. So I read an interesting stat recently that 85% of customer interactions are projected to be managed without a human being by 2020. So that's not long. So our technology really needs to catch up. It needs to create a world where we have these efficiencies, because else we're going to be spending all of our time silencing everything, telling everything where we need to go. So we can give our devices the ability to sense and react to the environment around us. Now, by using this technology, we can do something quite clever. We will no longer need to start setting alarm clocks for when we wake up in the morning. Our bed will know. We can attach accelerometers to the bed, and it will tell us exactly when we need to wake up based on our schedule ahead of us. We can start knowing how much fuel the power station or an oil well is going to need to create based on the following day's scenarios. The problem with context awareness is there is so much scope and use of this technology, and it will improve because we're able to know how much electricity we're going to need for the next day. We're going to know by, if you've just been through Christmas and all of a sudden we've put on too many pounds, we'll know how much tyre to put into the car. Your car will drive itself because it already knows its destination. So we won't have to silence things, we won't have to manually interact with the world. Our devices will live in harmony with ourselves. And this is how we do it. We do it with companies such as myself. We manufacture entrance control products. So this is great that we can sense the environment around us and we can start predicting our movements. But what we can't do is location. So it's quite hard. I had a look here earlier today at my location, and it's got my phone zooming about everywhere. And actually I haven't been doing much. I sat down and had a coffee. So what we need to understand is an entrance point. We can start creating this technology simply by when you enter a building. When you enter a building, you're simply not entering a building in your place of work, an airport, a train station. What you're doing is you're entering into tomorrow, into this evening. Your phone, your technology will start knowing where you need to go and when you need to do it. But what you need to do is step through a portal, a moment in time. And so we need to have devices such as the ones that my company make to enable us to make the most of that technology, because else all we're likely to do is predicting. But once we have this prediction, once we understand where people are, when they are, we really achieve harmony with technology. We achieve the knowledge, we achieve the power, but our whole world becomes much more efficient. We're not creating surplus technology, we're not creating surplus energy. And this might seem far out, this might seem far-fetched to people, but if we carry on the technology curve we are at the moment, we're going to be swamped. It's going to be too much to handle. But enabled to have this world, we're still living in a time where we use slices of paper, little bits of paper to tell me that I can board a train. We're carving out from lumps of metal that I can go through something that's wooden to allow me into a building. It really doesn't seem just that we've got these insanely clever people working on this technology, the world that's going to be around us. And actually what we're doing is currently we're relying on scraps of paper to let me in. We're still living in a world where you need a lump of plastic to let me into my building, and what we're doing is it's quite interesting in terms of product management. When we're entering a building, the amount of people that have to stoop down and they start touching a pass on a piece of metal. We need this to be free-flowing. We need to not intrude in people's lives. So the technology we use must be done on the fly. It must be intuitive. Now the best key for this is ourselves. I'm the best key that I have. You can't copy my face. You might not want to. We're not talking about a world where you have to stand in front of a little circle and stand there for 5 seconds and hover and do your best face. We're talking about a world how I can just enter seamlessly into a building. A payment will be taken, your weight might be taken, your ID, but actually what it's doing is predicting the future ahead of you. And it's not saying in a month's time I know what restaurant you're going to, but it's saying actually I know when to start putting the trains on, I know how many carriages there are. I can predict that perhaps I'm on a date and I don't want to get a notification at that time. You're not having to live in a world where you're having to manually interact, because we all have busy lives, we're all doing what we do. And actually what we're doing is we're slowly becoming managers of technology. We're spending so much of our time just dealing with technology. But in order for us to keep up with this level of technology, we must improve what we are doing at the moment. We must improve technology. We mustn't rely and just take for granted. If we look around us, we're still in a cave era of technology, of using, like I said, scraps of paper and lumps of metal to enter something that's wooden. We really need to embrace the future, and these technologies will allow us for a lot better life and efficiencies. But thank you for letting me take you through a journey and a sneak peek of what I believe might be the future. The level of technology we have at the moment, it's only going to increase. At the moment, we're looking at watches and phones and laptops, and potentially lights which are used for comical value when I'm disturbing my wife. But that scale is going to continue. And if we don't start doing something about it and recognizing the world that we are in and the environment we're in, we're going to struggle. And our efficiencies are going to plummet unless we start creating a better world and using the intelligence around us. But if you've got any better prediction, any new way of the world, any questions you want to put for us, feel free to come and chat to us at the stand. Be happy to talk you through our products and where I think the future is going to go. But I very much appreciate all your time and hope you have a lovely show. Thank you very much.